Welcome to the Rotary Time Show, a public service program presented by Rotarian Lynn Heinrichs of State Farm Insurance, McLean, Virginia. On our programs, we talk with Rotarians and community leaders and discuss how Rotary International builds partnerships to support local, national, and world communities. I'm your host, Rotarian Dr. Deborah Jackson from the Rotary Club of McLean, Virginia. The success of a Rotary district is dependent on the governor. They provide leadership, motivation, and guidance to Rotary clubs under the general supervision of Rotary International. They actually serve as directors or officers of the board, the national board. Joining me remotely is Rotarian Rene, who is the current governor of Rotary District 7610 for the 23-24 Rotary year. Welcome, Governor Rene, to the Rotary Time Show.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here.
Oh, and I'm excited to have you here today so that we can kick off this year. I know you are looking forward to a wonderful year of change and transformation in the district, and we are looking to serve alongside you in getting the work done. So we're going to get started by having our audience, which I always like to do, is to have them learn a little bit about our guests. So let's start by asking you to just give us some of your Rotary background and the experiences that led to your appointment as governor.
Well, thank you for giving me that opportunity. My husband and I ended up in the Stafford, Virginia area in 2008 when he was transferred to the Pentagon. Prior to that, I had not even heard of Rotary before, and it wasn't for another 5 years until I would hear about it here. We acclimated to our community, and I immediately got involved in a lot of stuff at the kids' schools, as one does. I have 6 children, so kind of my volunteer life surrounded opportunities to serve. And I was approached by someone whose husband was in a Rotary club locally, and they were about to host a huge event the following year, and they needed community members to help and become part of their team to get this birthday celebration for Stafford County, 350 years. And so they asked if I would help with the event, if I would join the club and help with the event. So I joined. That was my introduction to Rotary in 2013. And the following year, we held our parade and expo event for the Stafford County birthday, and it was really awesome. The community was very excited and pleased. The county was excited about how well we did, and it was such a great partnership. We partnered with many organizations within the county, including the county Sheriff's Department, lots of historical organizations, and I learned so much about the place that I lived. And for me, that was a unique thing, because in the military life, you go from station to station, and you don't really get to know a lot about the community you live in. You're only there a couple of years. So for me, this was kind of a brand new experience, and I fell in love with it, and I fell in love with Rotary. By 2018, I became president of our club.
Were there other experiences along your leadership journey?
Yes, after I served as president of my club, I was asked to be the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion chairman of a brand new committee. And following that year, I was the area governor. It's now called assistant governor for Area 4. And during that time, I was nominated for district governor.
Wonderful, and you were successful in achieving that goal and was appointed, and we are so delighted to have you. Governor Rene, talk about the responsibilities in the role of a district governor.
One of the most important is to provide resources and guidance for any of the clubs and Rotary members within our district, and to make sure that the Rotary International policies are being adhered to and that we're following all the rules so that we can use the branding and the name of Rotary. But for me, I think the most important part of being district governor is facilitating collaboration, providing education to our Rotary members about Rotary and all the opportunities, and really to bring everyone together so that we can work together to benefit all of our communities.
Wonderful. Every year, Rotary has a new theme. What's this year's theme?
Create hope in the world.
Oh, I love that. Have you had other people talk to you about what that means to them?
There are so many absolutely amazing interpretations of this theme, and I believe we're going to be unstoppable this year. The motivation, the inspiration, and the excitement around this theme and everything that Gordon McAnally is leading us to is amazing. So we're so hopeful for what's to come.
All righty. Well, we're there with you and watching. Help us to understand, you mentioned one of the roles is to help expand the brand. How would you go about doing that? How would you include the clubs in your district? And share with us, in fact, how many clubs do you oversee?
56, if you're counting the Rotaract clubs, which we are now. It's fluctuating back and forth sometimes because we might add a satellite club, we might merge another club. And so the number's been fluctuating this year, which is exciting. But I think that we have some of our biggest efforts that we're going to put forth this year is re-engaging post-COVID, getting everybody back in person, starting to filter that opportunity in. We've become so used to Zoom, which is fantastic. But the in-person is really valuable for the fellowship and those connections. And so we're trying to do our training and education programming, some of it Zoom and some of it in person.
I think that's wonderful to have that hybrid approach. I know I'm appreciative of it when there are opportunities that I'd like to participate in that may not necessarily be local, but because some of our training occurs around the Fredericksburg area, but I can attend that training without fear that I'll miss it because it's too far away. So I think our audience would love to know that hybrid is one thing we do well in Rotary.
Yes, as a matter of fact, the reason I'm joining you today, and I might be a little spotty, is because I'm actually attending an event at a Rotary Club up in Fairfax today. So they've let me use the space in the back for some quiet time so I can join you, but I'm at a Rotary event right now.
Yeah, well, that's a wonderful example. That's what I said. I can appreciate the hybrid approach. I actually have found it very useful. So thank you. What's the overall demographics? How many people are in District 7610? How many Rotarians?
We have under 2,000. We're hovering around the 1980 number. Sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more. We have our challenge that's been laid down to add a member to every club. So we're working on that mission, and that has no expiration date. Although the challenge has an ending, that doesn't mean we stop.
Yeah. I know in my club, that's all they're talking about now is your challenge. So thank you, for that. I understand that your administration is part of a planning process amongst the D line. And when I say the D line to our audience, I'm talking about the district governor line, those individuals who are in the pipeline to become district governor, as well as yourself. And I think your past district governor is also a member of that line. What do you believe are the three biggest changes or efforts that must be made initially in order to put Rotary or the district on the right path forward?
Well, first I'll say that because of the wonderful district governors that have come before me, we are on an awesome path. But we're always moving forward and we're always trying to improve, because the better we do, the better we can serve our communities. So some of our biggest challenges I mentioned before, post-COVID, that re-engagement piece, getting people to come back into the fold, get re-involved. A lot of people reprioritized their time during COVID. We found a few things about ourselves. And so we're trying to spark that volunteer gene again in a few folks. But the re-engagement is really important, and we're all that our continuity provides continuity for the district so that the clubs have an easier time transitioning. We want to help transition happen around the turnover time frame. Training and education, as I mentioned before, is key to the success of the clubs, but also it helps us with our diversity efforts and all of the other kind of club culture things that are going on in the world. In our clubs, we're wanting to make sure that we're representing the communities where we serve. So I believe that the education piece is really important. But our biggest challenge is building depth at all levels of the clubs and the districts. We're trying to do that at the district level to give the clubs a good example. But if you talk about continuity, you're talking about, we have our past district governor, current, we have the future district governor. I'll be stepping in on July 1st. Amelia is coming in right behind me. She's the DGN, and behind her is Robbie. The idea is that the clubs do the same. They know who their leaders are going to be so that they can begin learning from the folks that are doing the job right now, and a lot of the background training that's required. So building depth, we don't want to be committees of one. The clubs don't want that. The district doesn't want that. So what we would love is to or having members of the district who are interested in being a part of the district committees, a part of the team that we have. We are open arms. We are welcoming new ideas and concepts. We're welcoming new Rotarians. We're welcoming Rotarians that have been here a while and know that they could make a difference. Please, we welcome everyone. What we would love to do is build depth in our committees. We'd love to have 4, 5, 6 folks working on a project so that we have many hands making light work.
You talked about expansion of your clubs. Now we have varying types of clubs in District 7610 as well as in Rotary. What are some of the alternate types of clubs we have currently that we can
I'm so glad you mentioned that.
Okay.
We have our traditional Rotary clubs that we're all used to. You meet a certain amount of times a month, you discuss what's going on, you might have a speaker, you may have a meal, there's some volunteer projects that go on, there may be long-term projects, typical Rotary club. So the only other 2 types of clubs we have besides that are Rotaract, which is 18 and older, but it's a different membership type. There's a whole another culture that goes into the Rotaract mindset. It's a little bit more of something and a little less of something else. We'll get into that. And then there's the satellite or companion club. Here's where it gets fun. When you're talking about satellite or companion clubs, Rotary International has kind of given us carte blanche to live as big as we can dream. And as past District Governor Pat Borowski would say, you don't have to think outside of the box, just get rid of the box. So we're not boxed in anymore. So when we have companion clubs, they can be all volunteer, they could be cause-based clubs, they could be satellites of the traditional club that have another traditional model but meet at a different time. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do Rotary clubs now, and it's just so exciting because as many ideas as you can think of, that's as many ideas as you could probably do.
That's right. Well, I want you to hold that thought because I want you to talk even more about it. But right now, we're going to take a short break and be right back to talk more with Governor Rene Laws.
Possibilities are all around us. We see potential in unexpected places. And when we share our knowledge, vision, and connections, we turn great ideas into action in communities all around the world. Together, we can make real change happen. We're Rotary. We are people of action. Get involved at Rotary.org.
Welcome back to the Rotary Times. We're here talking with District Governor Rene Laws, the governor of Rotary District 7610, Virginia, for the 2023-24 Rotary year. Governor Rene, you were talking about the expansion of various types of clubs in your district. Talk a little bit more about what you'd like to see happen with those.
What I would love to see is this: if clubs that are finding that their membership is staying the same, but they want to grow, and they're not having success in the traditional ways that they've done it before, sometimes starting a companion club or a type of satellite could be a solution. But we have a membership committee that is made up of some very intelligent, trained, educated folks who can sit down with each club, do an assessment, and try to figure out exactly what the best solution might be. But I believe adding companion and satellite models to existing clubs is a really great way to grow our membership, introduce folks to Rotary that maybe at a different pace. If they join a companion club, maybe there's one club called an impact model. The idea of an impact club is very simple. It's all volunteer. They meet on Zoom or in person at a social location to discuss what volunteer opportunities they're all bringing to the table. Everyone looks at their calendars, decides who's doing what, and then they go on their own way. There might be 2 or 3 over here doing a volunteer effort with a different organization on a Saturday, and then Wednesday night they might be making meals at a local shelter. And so that might bring in folks that aren't interested in the speaker traditional dinner model of Rotary, but they still want to have that opportunity to serve and be part of a group that would provide them with that opportunity and all of those, like the scheduling and partnering with other organizations that they wouldn't have to do as an individual. So I would really love to see clubs reach out to our membership committee if they are interested in learning more about these options that they may have if they're looking to grow their membership in a different way, in the nothing that they've done before.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I mean, I had not heard of the Impact Club, so thank you for sharing that information with our audience. Many of us are looking at ways that we can build our clubs, and that's one great way. How about the Rotaract Club that you mentioned earlier? It seems to be the fastest growing clubs in Rotary. Are you seeing the same growth of Rotaract in the district?
We currently have 6 Rotaract clubs, and 2 of them are, actually 3, are attached to institutions of education, higher learning, and then 3 of them are not. Traditionally, Rotaract clubs were only found in universities. They were the next step after Interact. But what Rotary found was that Rotaractors, when they left the proverbial college nest, weren't always ready to step right into regular Rotary. So they expanded the age limit to go a little further so that it could include young professionals. And as these Rotaractors were finding their way into their local communities versus their college, that they could find a home in a Rotary club. So then the idea became, well, if they are going to leave the nest and go join a Rotary club, but they're still not ready for a Rotary club, how are we going to provide a place for them? So the club model was born, and it's no longer a part of youth services. It is a membership level of Rotary International. The idea is to bring new younger folks into Rotary who are young professionals or in college, and keep them in the Rotaract program until they are ready to join a regular Rotary club or a satellite or a companion club. It's something that isn't that Rotaract model. And so it's really exciting that this is a membership level now, because and we're still finding our way. How do we do the dues? Their dues are different, and there's a whole lot of things that we're still working on. That's the amazing thing about Rotary. Paul Harris said, and this is one of my favorite quotes, the world is a changing and Rotary must change with it. We are doing that visually in front of everyone by creating this new membership level and actually exploring it, seeing where the boundaries are, and then expanding or bringing them back in as necessary. It's a sight to behold. It's really amazing.
Wonderful. You work very closely with your colleague governors in other districts in Chesapeake Zone 33, 34. Do you all often talk about how you can best, implement some of these new alternative club settings?
Absolutely. I will tell you, Deborah, one thing I've learned in Rotary is learning. I'm never done learning. We have been, myself and my fellow DGEs have been in training together for, it'll be 3 years. And we started out all together right after we were nominated within our own districts. They kind of brought us together, zones 33 and 34, so that we could get to know one another. There's 30 some of us. And we've been together through it all. And we have a WhatsApp chat, we have email, and we have regular Zooms, and we get on with one another and we talk about all these ideas off of one another. We're able to share ideas about events. We're able to share information about, training. We're able to share simple things like a Canva template for a flyer we want to make. We are so ensconced with one another that we're attending each other's conferences and installations if we can, if we're close enough. We've become a really big family, but the best part about that is the knowledge and the networking that we're able to share by having that close relationship.
Absolutely. Building those relationships builds that readiness. And thank you for sharing that. I had an opportunity to work with CPETs, Chesapeake CPETs, and I have seen the district governors, they collaborate in action. They do a wonderful job. The district has been mandated by RI to now look at how they deal with somewhat sensitive topics like racism. It will not be tolerated in any form. How does District 7610 reach out to work along with that mandate?
I will tell you that I'm so pleased that Rotary International sent out a statement that was so specifically welcoming to every single anyone who would be interested in joining our organization. I'm getting a little choked up. This is close to my heart, and I truly believe that when people feel like they belong somewhere, when they truly feel welcome, and when they realize that there are no barriers to join an organization that they might be used to seeing, they will give and give and give of their time, of their talents, of their treasures. They will absolutely share everything that's good within them with that organization. So by Rotary taking this stand and saying, we will not tolerate discrimination, we will not allow anyone to feel like they are not welcome, no matter for what reason, it makes my job a lot easier because I can say yes to literally everyone.
Yes.
Fostering that within our district, helping our current Rotary members understand what this means that we're sending this message in everything we're doing. And the most important way that I believe the best way we can do this is by using the 4-way test. If you take something in your life and place it up against the 4-way test, there is no way that you can be unethical. There is no way that you won't have honor and integrity. It is such a phenomenal test. So I'm going to be using the 4-way test this year. That's what we're going to see in everything that we do. We're going to remind ourselves what that 4-way test is about and break down each of the tenets within so that we can understand it even better. It is very complicated and simple as can be at the same time.
Thank you, Governor Rene, for that response. Very quickly, your family. We've seen pictures of your family. We know how active your husband is in Rotary. I've seen him at various celebrations. I've seen him at various conferences working with the Sergeant at Arms. So I know that they're on your side all the way. Team Rene. How do they support you other than coming out and being a part of Rotary?
I'll tell you, I have 6 children who are in various parts of the world right now. The furthest one lives in Perth, and that is almost exactly directly across the world as far as you can be. It's not because she doesn't love her mom, but let me assure you. But the best way they support me is when I go to them and ask them for an honest assessment. Or if I go to them and ask them, okay, I'm having trouble, figuring out how I can transfer this to my community and Rotary. they help me so much because of their youth, and they don't have the biases
No.
that we have unconsciously. They have a lot less, I would say. Their generation is has much more grace and much more understanding from my point of view.
Right.
So I'm able to go to my kids and get really honest feedback about what Rotary's doing. How are we doing that? How could we be doing it better? So really, they support me because they know that I love Rotary, but they also love that I'm trying to make Rotary a better place for everyone, and they really want to help me do that.
Great. In the interest of time, I want you to think of 3 words that would describe the legacy you want to leave behind.
Legacy.
3 words.
I would say continuity.
Okay.
Collaboration.
Okay.
And engagement. I want people to look back on the Rotary year of 23-24 and see that because we collaborated and there was so much energy and excitement and inspiration around that, we were able to actually make amazing impact in our community. And we can continually do that if we build out our strategic plan so that it's sustainable.
All righty. Thank you so much, Governor Rene. We wish you all the best on this year, and we hope to see you at the end of the year to come back and share your wrap-up of how well you did, because I know that there will be a lot of things to share. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's been an honor.
Great. For the Rotary Times program, I am your host, Rotarian Dr. Deborah Jackson from the Rotary Club of McLean, Virginia. You're welcome to join us at a Rotary Club in your area for either breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or a service project. You can find a club near you by looking us up on the internet. Many clubs are hosting meetings in person, virtually, or in some hybrid format. You only need to look us up for details. Remember, our time is your time, and it's time well spent. Please join us for our next program as we continue to celebrate Rotary's 117 years of service above self.